This is my 2020 M340i. I got the normal problem. Oil level doesn't measure. High oil pressure at idle. High oil pressure, wide open throttle. Looking about 90 psi, 90 to 100 psi at wide open throttle. So we're gonna be doing the oil pump. Just starting off the video here. We're just about to get started. Just want to add a quick voiceover here. There may be a couple of voiceovers later in the video. I go over a special tool for an engine hoist hook. Turns out I'm incorrect about this. There's already included engine hoist in the front, and in the rear you're actually supposed to put a hook into a loop on the rear of the cylinder head. I was reading the service manual incorrectly. You do not need to purchase this engine hook. Later in the video, you'll go ahead and see where you're supposed to hook in the front with the included engine hoist hook, and in the rear, you will see the circular cutout where you're supposed to put a hook through there. Just a quick thing to note, you're going to need the special tool 2459012. It's an engine hoist bracket. They give you the one in the front, but they don't give you the one in the rear, so you're going to need to go ahead and pick this tool up. Comes with the hook and the two bolts to put it in the back there. In a little bit, we're going to get started on replacing the oil pump. Got all the instructions right here. Going to go ahead and run through all the steps then. Took all the body panels, belly pans off. In the process right now, removing the wheel covers. So expanding rivets right here. Basically, you got to punch them in, and then you can pry them out with a pry tool. Went ahead and took all these out. This one right here, a little pain in the butt. So you can just use an extension. There's one back here too. Use an extension with a wobble. Be able to get that out then. Went ahead and disconnected the oil coolant line, and also went ahead and popped the oil level or the headlight level sensor off its ball socket right there. Went ahead and disconnected the 48-volt battery and the 12-volt battery in the rear. Popped this windshield washer union off. Basically just a U-clip, pried out the screwdriver, and you can pull this out. Removing the wiper blades, pop the protective cap off. Going to remove the nuts, mark the wiper blades in their position, and go ahead and take those wiper blades off. Also remove the rear acoustic cover to get ready to put the engine hoist hook in. Alright, removed the windshield cowl, took this tension brace off. Ones right here are 18s, ones right here are 16s. Broke them loose by hand because they go straight into the windshield. So got 18s here, 16s on the windshield. Went ahead and removed the side fender protection. It's expanding rivets right here. You just take a pocket screwdriver, pry this up a little bit, use a pry tool, and you can just pry the whole rivet out. Gonna plan on putting the engine support bar. BMW calls for it to go on this pinch weld here by the strut tower, but that requires a special tool. Alright, we currently have the rear firewall cover removed. Getting the engine support bar position. Got it connected to the front here. We are currently attempting to find where to put the engine hook right here. There we go. Alright, we got the engine support bar set up. We used the front engine bracket right here. However, we weren't able to find the rear bracket. Once again, as mentioned in the beginning of the video, what I'm about to show is the actual correct place to mount or to put your engine support bar chain through. I'm going to show a video or a photo of the official diagram or official photo that BMW provides, and as you can see, they actually do say to put a hook through this this cutout in the rear of the cylinder head. Again, I was just reading the service manual incorrectly. You do not need the special tool I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Just take your engine support, whatever chain you're using for your engine support bar. If you have a hook, just go ahead and hook it through this this cutout in the engine head. If not, you can do what we did, which is we just took a bracket with a hole, sent a bolt through it, tightened it with a nut, and pulled tension like that. So what we did is there is a cutout on the passenger side of the head, right back there. Basically put a bracket. Basically put a bracket and a bolt through that hole with a nut on the other side. We got it tensioned up here. That's the current setup we got going on right now. We got tension on the chains and it seems to be holding the engine. Currently got the bushings disconnected from the subframe for the control arms. Over here, it's a tight fit. We used a wobble extension to get the bolt out, and there's just barely enough room to sneak this bolt out without having to remove this radiator. Comes out with this, I think they call it some type of tension brace from the service manual, so you can just basically slide this all out as one, and you can free up the bushings from the subframe with a pry bar then. Alright, we currently got all the control arms loosened. Went ahead and disconnected the wiring for the electric power steering rack right here. Little Christmas tree clips and tucked it right up. You can see right there, so it just goes right there, and move the connector. As you can see in the video, we did not remove the rightmost connector, or the rearmost connector rather, from the power steering rack. That connector is actually a part of the subframe. You do not need to disconnect that connector. You only need to remove the front and middle connector. So coming up, also went ahead and disconnected the tie rod ends right here. Wheel hub is completely loose over here. Gonna go ahead and start removing the axles now from the wheel hub. In the video I just said that we'd be removing the axles. What we actually did was we went ahead and dropped the subframe, and then from there, once the subframe was removed, we went ahead and removed the axles from the differential, and then also disconnected the prop shaft going from the differential to the transfer case. Currently got the subframe removed. We went ahead and ratchet strapped around the engine mount post right here for extra support. And from there, we were able to lower the subframe. Gets a little stuck on these radiator core support guides right here. So we basically had to work it down with a pry bar on each side. And eventually it broke loose. So just use a pry bar, pry against the body, and the subframe will come loose. Lower it down slowly. And from there, subframe will pop completely out. All right, went ahead and took the front axles out. Just popped this one out, hammered it out. There's a little perch that sits over here, so you got to hammer the axle out first, then you remove these 4 bolts right here. That perch will come right out. Other than that, just in the process of draining the oil right now. And from there, we're most likely going to go ahead and remove this front differential. One thing to note is, according to the service manual, the bolt up here is a different size than the 3 remaining bolts over here. So you make sure you want to keep these bolts separate from the top right bolt up there. All right, we got the oil pan off. There's 3 bolts in the back here. There's 1, 2, and there's one all the way up there, number 3. After that, we were able to pry it off. We used the heat gun to heat the sealant up, and we were able to pry on the points right here. And I think there was another one. I think it was like right here. Pop that off. And we had to get this gear off the oil pump. It calls for a special tool. Since it's only 5 Newton meters plus 9 degrees, we're able just to put vice grips on it, and it is a reverse thread, so basically in the motion as if you're tightening it. And after we cracked it loose, we were able to get it off by hand. Replacing the bolt anyway, and service manual calls to take the gear off of the chain link, put it on the new oil pump, torque it on the bench, and then you basically flip the oil pump with the gear attached into the chain there, so you can torque that on the bench. So we're able to get that off. 4 bolts, 2 on each side, and the oil pump will come right off. And we'll go ahead and remove the pickup tube on the bench then as well, once we get this oil pump removed. After that, we're going to crack open the oil pump, look at the plastic, see if it's cracked. It most likely is, and that's resulting in the high oil pressure. All right, we got the old oil pump out and the new oil pump in right here. Something to note, there are centering sleeves on the passenger side. I think it's left inside, so you got to pull them out. Technically, you're supposed to renew them, but we were able to pull them out and put them back in. They weren't bent or anything crazy, so we're good to renew those. Pickup tube we're just reusing. There's no grind inside of it. As for the old oil pump right here, you can see it is the old style plastic housing. No visible cracks though, actually on the outside here, but I was not able to measure the oil level once the car was hot. But again, there's no visible cracks here. So some are saying it maybe the spring over here gets weak and it can't limit the oil pressure, so it goes into high oil pressure. But again, this is the old oil pump, plastic. One of the car now is the full metal one. If I can get the part number, should be, get exactly where it is. And that's never going back together again. Ending in, yep, 453. It's the old style oil pump right there. That's the part number. So, new oil pump in. Gonna put it back together. If there's anything of note, we'll go ahead and take another short snippet of anything to note during reinstallation. All right, we got the oil pan back on, the sound deadening back on. Axles pushed in. I took these axle seals out right here. We would just take a screwdriver, pop them out. BMW calls for a special tool to put these back in. You can use a big socket that fits over the plastic edge of this output shaft seal or axle seal, whatever, and just hammer it in. What we were able to do is we just basically took some really big pliers like this. We put them around like this, and then we basically just hammered on the pliers, and we just keep on rotating. So we'd rotate around like this. Same thing, hammer, go back around. That put them in all nice. Also renewed the metal clips that go on the inside of it. Pain in the butt to remove them, but when you're putting the new metal clips on, they just pop right on in. And then once you put the axle back in, not really that too big of a pain in the butt, just kind of get the splines aligned, and then basically just, if you have a dead blow or a mallet, just go ahead and pop it in. Those metal clips are going to stick out a lot. It looks like it's going to be really tight to get it in, but it actually just pops right in once you hit it a little bit with a mallet. Other than that, we still have the engine in the we still have the engine support bar going with our ratchet strap here too. Went ahead and renewed these bolts for the prop shaft. Other than that, went ahead and torqued everything down, got the starter motor back in. From there, we're gonna go ahead, take the subframe, we're gonna put it back on, go ahead and tighten everything, and let you know if there's anything to note from there. All right, and this is after the car's oil pump has been fully replaced. If I go in here, or if I first show, oil temp is fully at operating temperature right there. If I head back to the home screen and go to driving information, you can see I've had this fully warmed up at this point since start of trip today. Going ahead and gotten this fully warmed up, as you can see. Even put it in sport mode too. Was driving, started driving the car pretty easily till it got up to temp, let oil circulate through because the oil pump wasn't primed. We put oil in the oil pump, but just to be safe, we let it idle for a little bit, warmed it up, and did some good amount of aggressive driving then. So car is fully warmed up. This is after a 35-minute drive. I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to measure the oil level. All right, go to engine oil level, measurement okay. I'm gonna go ahead and start the measurement. Engine's going ahead and revving up. And let's go ahead and see if this goes past 20%. Normally it would stop around 19 to 20%. Looks like it's going right past it. I'm gonna go ahead and speed up the video right now. Just a little time lapse until it gets to 100% and gives an oil level readout. All right, we're finishing up. And it gave a good oil readout. Looks like we topped it off perfectly, actually. We're slightly above the halfway between min and max. Perfect on the oil level. Revs have dropped back down. Everything on the car is good. I haven't noticed anything abnormal. So at this point in time, I'm gonna go ahead and call this job successful. Looks like the oil level's reading after a long drive, after the car was driven pretty, somewhat hard in Sport Plus mode. As you can see, I was driving in Sport Plus mode there. If you guys have any questions, just be sure to leave them in the comments, or I'm also making a thread on Bimmer Post go ahead and respond as quickly as possible. I know I didn't include everything in the video, but it should be pretty much everything. I just didn't go in depth with everything we did. I just kind of said what we would do and went ahead and did it, or did an overview of what we did. I didn't show the actual process of the steps that we did. So if you have any questions, just be sure to make a post on the thread, leave a comment in the video down below. I'll go ahead and respond to that. Other than that, thanks for watching. Looks like this is the first oil pump replacement video on YouTube and Bimmer Post. Again, it's not a full tutorial, but hopefully it's helpful to anybody.